and EIDL and other aid programs that are offered by the Small Business Administration. We will be recording this session so that those of you who are watching can watch it later, get some more information, use the links, and also can share it with your colleagues. However, we would make one note is there are things that change about all of these programs on a day-to-day basis. So we would encourage you to, if you share it with folks after today, which is January 28th, if you share it after today, that you make sure that you visit the SBA website. And I know that our speaker will give you some more information on that. So without further ado, I would like to thank David Hincapie from the Washington Metropolitan Area SBA office for joining us today. And he has some words for us, and I think he also has a presentation to share. So I'll allow him to share his screen and we'll go from there. But David, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Okay, so instead of sharing a presentation, I'm going to share my screen and show you the SBA website, because I want to get everybody used to just going to the website to get your information, because that's where you're going to get the accurate information. That's where I don't want you getting the rumors from Facebook and from the Reddit page and from the thing, although, Reddit's been a lot of fun in the last 24 hours. Go to the page, go to the Treasury or the SBA website. That's the official information. You don't have to worry about, I heard this or I heard that or rumors. You get the official information, and you get the right information. So I'm going to share a screen here, and let's see here. This is going to be, let me open up my browser, because I want to show everybody how to go get to this information. Screen. Where are we? There we go. Okay. Okay. So now you go to your computer. You're all in computers right now. You just do sba.gov/PPP. And everything about the PPP is there. Everything. So look here, you see first draw PPP loans. I'm going to talk about what makes you eligible for one. Second draw PPP loans, also additional coronavirus relief. Here's the PPP loan forgiveness, that's here. And then lender information, if you happen to be a lender and you're on this call, or if you want to see the interim final rules, the official rules that have been published in the Federal Register, they're all there in the lender information here. And if you're just curious and you're a data nerd, here's data, how many loans we've made in what states, et cetera, size of loans and things like that.
Okay, excuse me, David.
Yeah.
I think we're seeing a different screen. We're seeing something called Employee Gateway.
You should be seeing this screen does it? I guess it doesn't update. All right, let me reshare it. Sorry.
Okay.
It doesn't update when I go to a new web page. So let me reshare it. All right, stop share. Share. There we go. So you should be seeing this now. Yeah?
Yes, that's correct. That's right. Okay.
So the way you get there is up here, sba.gov/PPP. That's not what you see here, because it switches to that automatically once it gets there, but just put /PPP, sba.gov/PPP. There you go, Paycheck Protection Program. There it is all. First draw loans, like I was saying, second draw loans. Here's another link to the same thing, second draw, PPP loan forgiveness, all the stuff I talked about. Okay, so let's talk about, I really hope, does this show you now the first draw loan specific page, Jane?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Perfect.
So if you go here to the first draw loans one, there's the content. Here are the sections. Click on the section. It'll go directly there. How and when to apply. Loan details. So if we go to loan details, who can get one of these? So this tells you the loan details. Who may qualify? Sole proprietors, independent contractors, self-employed persons, any small business concern that meets small business size standards, any business with a NAICS code that begins with 72, accommodations and food services, that has more than one physical location and employs less than 500 per location. How and when to apply. Here is how and when to apply. All the links are here. Here's the application form. You click on that, you get it. I encourage you to go here to this top line overview of PPP first draw loans and to look at these frequently asked questions and look at how to calculate first draw PPP loan amounts. I'm not showing this to you in a presentation on purpose because I want to get you used to going here and getting the information directly from the source. Okay, here's the top line overview. It's a downloadable PDF. Who can apply, reapplying and loan increases, how and when to apply. All of that is there. Now, let's go to the second draw loans. So second draw loan is for anyone who got a PPP on or before December 27 last month, right? If you got a PPP on or before December 27 last month, then you qualify potentially for a second draw loan. Let's go, who can qualify? Previously received a first draw PPP loan and will or has used the full amount only for authorized uses. The authorized uses are payroll costs, and those operating expenses that are listed in our interim final rules saying what can you use a loan for. You have no more than 300 employees, so the standard is smaller now for the second draw, not 500 employees, no more than 300 employees. And you can demonstrate at least a 25% reduction in gross receipts between comparable quarters in 2019 and 2020. You just have to show it in one quarter. So let's say you pick second quarter of 2019, April, May, June, and then second quarter of 2020, April, May, June. If you have at least a 25% reduction in gross receipts, AKA gross revenues, then you may qualify for this. You're eligible to apply and you may qualify for this. So we're currently accepting the applications. If you already had a first draw loan, that's what we're calling the loans on or before December 27, the ones from last year, we're calling those first draw loans. If you already had a first draw loan through a lender, we recommend you go back to that lender for a second draw loan. Now, if you wish to begin preparing your application, you can download it right here. Here's a top line overview of second draw loans. Here's the frequently asked questions, same as the one for the first draw loans, and how to calculate revenue reduction and maximum loan amounts, including what documentation to provide. We've got a little typo there, I'll let them know. So this second round, we're doing much better about putting the information out on the web page. There it is, everything you need. You can calculate it yourself so you know exactly what you're supposed to be getting. All right, so there it is. PPP loan forgiveness. If you have a first draw loan and you're preparing your forgiveness application. Now remember, there's no rush. You have 10 months from the end of your covered period. But the covered period cannot extend beyond December 31st, last month. So if you got the loan in June and you had the 24-week covered period, that's roughly half a year. So your covered period would end sometime in December. You have 10 months from that time to submit your loan forgiveness. So there's no rush. Now you might be in a rush because you want to go get this PPP second draw. Right? All right. So this is how you do this is where you get the information on the first draw loan forgiveness terms. This is the second draw loan forgiveness terms, how and when to apply for loan forgiveness. To apply for loan forgiveness, here are the steps. Right? There are 3 different forms. There's a 3508, the 3508EZ, and the 3508S, or a lender equivalent. They might have their own versions of it. It explains what they are here, how to compile your documentation, what are non-payroll expenses that are allowable uses of the loan funds, submit the forgiveness form and documentation, continue to communicate with the lender throughout the process. Now we know that's going to be easier if your lender was a bank or a credit union or a CDFI. It's going to be hard if it was one of the online lenders. I've talked to people who say it's impossible to get a person. It's all done through email. All right. So, an important detail for the people who received a PPP. The recent legislation from December 27 has eliminated the requirement to reduce your loan forgiveness amount by the amount of the EIDL advance, the EIDL grant. I'll explain. Let's say last year you applied for the EIDL, the Economic Injury Disaster Loan, and on the same application, you checked the box to get that grant, that advance. Let's say you got $5,000 because you have 5 employees. Before the legislation, they were going to reduce the PPP forgiveness amount by $5,000 because that was not, you didn't have to pay that back. That has changed. Now, the EIDL advance will not affect how much of the PPP loan is forgiven. It's not connected anymore. If you got the advance, you got the advance, you keep the money, you don't have to worry about payback. And if you got the PPP loan and you followed all the rules, you get it fully forgiven. It will not be reduced. The forgiveness amount will not be reduced by the amount of the advance. It's a very important detail. Okay, so that's the most important news about PPP loan forgiveness. Also, you will be able to deduct, maybe this is equally important, you will be able to deduct the expenses that you paid with the PPP loan funds. That was not the case before, but it is the case now. You can deduct the expenses that you paid with the PPP loan amounts. There are IRS rules about that, and you go find out about it on the IRS website. Okay, so that's the PPP. Now, the Economic Injury Disaster Loan Program continues. It continues with its problems in that we have too many applications and more than 15 million applications since March. We've made, I think, about between 4 and 4.5 million loans so far, processed a bunch of others, and we still have several million to process, and we only have 6,000 people to do it. We increased the number of people working in the primary disbursement center processing the applications from 450 to 6,000. It's still not enough when you have 8 million applications left. So they're continuing, and there's still money in the fund. So if you have not applied for an economic injury disaster loan, you can apply for one here. Now, you can get information on that disaster loan by going to, and I may have to restart the sharing again. I don't know. Jane, let me know if this works. You go to disasterloan.sba.gov.
That worked.
That worked. Okay. So you can apply. So there's 3 steps. It tells you what they are. There's types of disaster loans. So here you go to the economic injury disaster loans. All right. So these are the ones that are not specifically related to COVID, right? These are the ones as they existed before the pandemic, right? So for the COVID specific ones, you can go to this. You can get general information of the types of disaster loans. For the COVID specific ones, you go up to the yellow banner, you click here, the COVID-19 relief. And in here, we're going to talk about all this stuff, including the COVID-19 here, economic injury disaster loans. There it is. There's all the information, big red button telling you to apply here. Purpose, terms, use of proceeds, collateral requirements only for loans over $25,000. Forgivable, no, but the EIDL advance was. In other words, you just keep the money. Maturity, 30 years, payments, etc. Everybody gets the same terms regardless of how high your credit score is or how low. If you qualify for the loan, everybody gets these terms right here, right? So that's the other loan program. We're still accepting applications for them. Be sure when you apply, if you're going to get the numbers right, right? Don't make mistakes. And I can't believe that I have to emphasize this, but I must, because about 30% of the applications we've received, a little over, have errors in there. What I mean is errors in the routing number of your bank, in the account number, the business checking account number of the people, which is where the loan proceeds will get deposited if you're approved. Errors in the name of the business, errors in the address of the business. Don't do that. Double check, triple check, make sure you get it right the first time. If you do not, Remember, there are millions of applications still in the queue, and we have 6,000 people to process them. We don't have enough people. So every time you make a mistake, if every mistake you make, I've got my digital version of a stack of loan papers, and I come up to your application and I say, okay, XYZ LLC, owner's David Hincapie in Cleveland, Ohio. All right, so I'm gonna go check, I'm gonna see what I have. Wait, this doesn't match what the records I'm getting over here. Is this a real business? Is this for, I don't know what this is. Okay, boom, there goes to the side. Because I have a stack of 1,000 that I gotta get through this week. I don't know when I'm gonna get to that again. Eventually I will. Now, I'm not exaggerating this. There are people who made mistakes on their applications. They've been waiting 5 months to get them corrected. We don't have enough people. So make it easy on the processors by doing it right the first time. If you have a service business, your cost of goods sold is 0. Put 0. Many people did not put 0 because they thought, well, if my cost of goods sold is 0, then I won't get a loan. They're going to think I don't need money. No, that's not how it works. Make the financial information. We only ask 2 pieces of financial information on the disaster loan application: your gross revenues and your cost of goods sold. If you're a service business, it's 0. If you're a goods business, get that number and get an accurate number. Make sure it matches what we have in your taxes, because eventually we might look at your taxes. If they don't match, if the gross revenues for 2019 don't match what we then get in your taxes, this doesn't match. All right, this goes to the side. On to the next one. I don't know when I'm going to get to that. I've got 1,000 to get through this week, and there's millions. So do it right the first time. Now, there is one more thing for some people in the audience that might apply. There's the shuttered venue operators grant. And this is for theaters, cinemas. This is for music venues. You can get one or the other. You can get a second draw PPP, or you can get the grant. You can't get both. We don't yet have the details for applying for the grant. We do have some preliminary information, and it's here in this webpage. Right? You click here, Shuttered Venue Operators Grant, SVO grant, program details. Who can apply? Eligible entities include live venue operators or promoters, theatrical producers, live performing arts organization operators, relevant museum operators, zoos, aquariums who meet specific criteria, etc. Other requirements of note: you have to have been in operation as of February 29 last year. And you cannot have received a PPP loan on or after December 27, right? Because you can't have both of these. Detailed information is coming soon. It's going to be by priority. First 14 days of grants, it's going to be for entities that suffered a 90% or greater revenue loss between April last year and December last year. Second priority, 70% or greater revenue loss. Third priority, 25% or greater revenue loss. Okay, allowable use of funds. I won't read it here. You can read it yourself. Grantees may not use award funds. Don't do it, or you will end up in a Washington Post story. Buy real estate. Make payments on loans originated after February 15 last year. Make investments or loans. Make contributions or payments to or on behalf of political parties. Don't use it for politics or any other use prohibited by the SBA administrator. Don't do it. You will end up in the news, guaranteed. Maybe not in 2 months, but by the end of the year, they're going to catch even more people. So don't do it. Okay, that's my overview. Let's go to questions.
Okay, great. Thank you, David. Okay, my first question is, I was able to apply for the second draw PPP loan through my bank. Do you have any idea how long it will take to get it approved?
it's taking a little bit longer than the first time. Well, if you had a good experience the first time, it took maybe 10 days, 10 working days. It might take a little longer this time because with the knowledge of the first PPP and things we did wrong, things we could have done better, now we're requiring more front-end checks to prevent fraud and make sure everything is correct. So give it 15 working days instead of 10 working days. It might be faster because I know some people who got a PPP loan in 7 days, the first time around. And that just, ironically, it was the regional and community banks who were much faster than the big banks. So it depends on who your lender is and how prepared they are to process them. But I'm going to guess about 15 business days.
Okay, thank you. On the second question, the loan provides 2.5 times the average payroll month. If I had no employees for 2 months in 2020 because of needed layoffs, how do I calculate the average month for the purposes of the application? The total 940 amount divided by 12 or divided by 10?
Well, you're going to use the 2019 as the reference, right? Your base situation is 2019.
I have a feeling that's what was meant because we're not even a month into 2020.
Right. 2021, right?
Oh, you're right. 2021. Yeah, you can use, okay, you're right.
This is all about, right? Let's go back and let's consider what this is about. This is about the drop in revenue between 2019 and 2020. So you're comparing 2019 to 2020. So you had to lay some people off. Now, here's the thing about PPP. I don't know if you got a first draw or second draw one. For forgiveness, to get the full amount forgiven, you have to have made a good faith effort to rehire them. And we talked about this endlessly last spring and summer. Send them a written offer to rehire them at the wage or salary you used to pay them. Paycheck Protection Program. The PPP is to protect paychecks. Act in good faith to do that, you get it forgiven. So if you had to lay them off for 2 months, did you try to get them back if you got a PPP loan? If you didn't get a PPP loan, if this is going to be your first one, you're comparing 2019 with 2020.
Okay. Is the EIDL a one-time thing? So if we already got an EIDL, and I don't know whether this is the EIDL grant or the EIDL loan, if we can't apply it again if we already got it. Is that correct?
So if you didn't get the grant the first time, they're going to reopen this. I have no idea when yet. I think the next thing they're going to work on is the shredded venue operators grant. Then they're going to get around to the EIDL advances again, or grants. Now, as far as a loan, the unofficial maximum is $150,000. If you got less than $150,000 on that first EIDL, you can ask for an increase. Keep in mind, however, and I'm going to send you some information on how they apply for the increase later so you can distribute it to everyone, because it's something I put together. There's nothing on the website, right? So keep in mind, you were already assessed, right? So when you applied for the EIDL, let's say in May, and you got it, they already looked at your financial situation, and it's very limited, right? All we asked for was gross receipts and your cost of goods sold, right? And if we didn't ask for any more information, that's all we know to go on. So we said, okay, you can handle this much loan payment. Now you want an increase. What has changed? We're still in the middle of a pandemic. So if you needed it for liquidity because you lost revenue, we're still in the same situation. Many businesses. So how do you justify getting a bigger loan payment? What has changed that's going to allow you to do this? Now, you can make your argument, you can request it, and many people do get an increase. But you have to make the argument. You have to send the request and more financial information. So for the increase request, it's gonna be more like a traditional, like a commercial loan application, right? We're gonna ask for your taxes. We're gonna ask for a schedule of liabilities. We're going to ask you to explain to us why you need it and why you will be able to pay it back. So you can apply for the increase, but you might not get it. Consider that your financial situation has already been assessed and you can handle this much. What has changed to allow you to handle this much?
Okay, this one's a little complicated. I'm going to try to get through it. We were advised that we should apply for an EIDL last year instead of a PPP because we didn't qualify. So we applied for an EIDL because we lost money, we lost revenue, but we did have reserves, but we didn't want to pay penalties to, I guess, to close those accounts or something like that, or to change them. They must have been accounts that had time on them or something like that.
CDs, yeah.
CDs or something like that. But now we qualify for the PPP. Can we pay back the EIDL and apply for a PPP? I think that's what the question is.
You can apply for the PPP before you pay back the EIDL. You don't have to. You're eligible for both. You can apply for both. All right. You're eligible for both.
You just can't use them for the same things. Am I correct in that one?
Yeah, you're not supposed to use them for the same things. This was a complication because the EIDL, before the PPP existed, the businesses used the EIDL for payroll, and other things. But then the PPP comes out, and so, well, I've got this thing specifically for payroll, so I'll use the EIDL for all these other operating expenses and costs. Right? Okay, so you shouldn't use them for the same thing, right? So if you have the EIDL, continue using those funds. If they haven't run out yet, continue using them for everything but payroll. And then you apply for the PPP, get the PPP, and use that entirely for payroll, or at least 60% for payroll, because those are the rules. It has to be at least, those are the rules. When I say those are the rules for how you have to use the money, those are the rules if you want to get the full forgiveness. You can use the money in all kinds of other ways. One of them, some of them might be fraudulent. It'll get you in trouble. Some of them might be allowable uses, but because they're not payroll, you won't get it forgiven. That's on you. So my assumption is always you want to get forgiveness. So that's what I say when I say the rules, it's with an eye towards that.
Okay. That's the last question I see in the chat. Does anyone else have a question? If you do, if you could please put it in the chat.
I'm surprised. Usually there's a lot more.
I am too.
Maybe everybody's heard so many of these little talks that now they really know it.
I think the one thing that we did hear from some of our members is particularly those who got a PPP the first time, their bankers are helping, and their bankers kind of know what to do the second round. So yeah. It's only from people who didn't get it the first time.
They're more familiar with the process now.
I think so. Okay. Seeing no more questions. Going once. Okay. Somebody is saying that I have one. The bank said we can't. That's unclear. I'm going to actually unmute you so you can explain a little bit more about that.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, thank you, David, and thank you, Julie, for the wonderful work you're doing, number one. Yeah, the Bank of America wrote to us saying that we cannot do anything for payroll, for PPP forgiveness, even if we qualify until mid-February. So because we were trying to, they said we can't do anything. It's a bank rule. I don't know how true that is. Maybe David can answer. It's not his.
So let me get this clear. They're saying you cannot turn in your PPP forgiveness application until mid-February?
Yes, sir. I have a copy of it. I can even send it to you.
Yeah, let's email back and forth and find out what's going on.
Yeah, so okay, thank you.
It could be that they don't have the systems in place, or they haven't figured out. I mean, look, they had to put this all together on the fly, and it's this other massive program. I mean, they already had their personnel, right? They had people working on this and this and this and this, and then all of a sudden there's this massive program. Where do you get the people to handle all these PPP loan applications and forgiveness? So they may not be ready to take all these applications in large numbers yet. That could be what's happening, and that's what they're doing. Now,
thank you. That makes sense.
that shouldn't stop you from applying for the PPP second draw loan, however. Right? So
Okay,
get in touch with that. So you can find me, mine, here, I'll put my email address in the chat just to everyone. So
thank you. That was
Email
my
me, we can
next
talk about it.
question. Yeah, thank you very much.
Okay.
there you go. That goes out to everyone. So you can email.
Thank you, thank you, thank you very much. You have been such a great service. We appreciate everything you're doing, and we thank you, and God bless you.
Thank you. Okay. I do have a couple more things, David. It says,
Yes.
when will the form for forgiveness without documentation for PPP loans under $150,000 be available?
This is for the first one, right? For the,
Yes.
yeah, first draw loan, PPP loan forgiveness. We go over here. And you're talking about the forgiveness application for the super easy one, the 3508S. There it is. 3508S Paycheck Protection Program forgiveness application. I'm sorry, here, let me share my screen
Yeah,
with
share
you
this.
again. Okay, so can you see it here? It says PPP loan forgiveness,
Mhm.
right? You go down here, forgiveness forms and instructions, SBA form 3508S, updated 6 days ago, 7 days ago. So there you go. All three of them are there, 3508, 3508EZ, and 3508S. And loan forgiveness requirements and loan review procedures as amended by Economic Aid Act. Read these. I know it's not the most interesting reading, but read them so you know what's going on.
Okay, I think you answered the next question. Do we have to apply for forgiveness from the lender that provided the loan? You do it through the website, correct?
Yeah, the lenders have websites. They're setting up websites for you to do it through there. So
Okay.
they may have this form in some version on their website. But what you could do is just download the form, print it, and do a practice.
Okay. And I did get a note on this that said that one of the other banks is saying the same thing, is that they're not ready for the documentation. They just don't have enough staff to handle everything that they're getting right now.
Yeah.
So the next question, we received approval for PPP last year, but the business was not planning to open. So we turned down the PPP money. We applied for a grant, but were turned down without explanation. Do you think we got turned down due to the PPP approval? And could we try to get the grant application again, but our business is not yet reopened?
Okay, so they applied for PPP, but the business was not ready to open.
Okay, hang on. I'm gonna,
Let's unmute them.
Yeah.
Let's let them.
yeah, let me get Thomas. Okay, TC. Where are you, TC? There he is. Okay, TC, you should be able to, you're not unmuting. Can you unmute yourself? Thomas? Okay, Thomas, you should be able to speak. TC, we can't hear you.
If there's a slash going through the microphone, that means you're muted.
No, he's not muted.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah, no, he's not. Yeah. I'll tell you what, you have David's email.
Yep. Send me an
So
email.
how about if you directly send him an email?
Yep.
And I'll go back up to the next one. Let's see, we have, are lenders allowed to add more criteria to the loan and or forgiveness processing?
No, they follow our rules. What criteria? I don't even know what you're talking about. Like what, you know.
Okay. Okay. Paperwork.
No, it's the application that we give them and then the documentation that we've told them they should gather. And so things like payroll records to make sure that you used it for payroll, et cetera, that sort of thing.
Okay. Okay, any more questions? Once, twice. Okay, everybody has, David's been very generous by providing his personal email and his work email, I would say. So we really appreciate that. Again, thank you very much for taking the time to join us today. And we will have this recording available shortly, and we will be in touch with everybody. Thank you, and have a great rest of your afternoon. And thanks
Let me
again,
say-
David. Oh, go ahead.
One last thing. Okay,
Yes.
so I deliberately kept this short by showing you the website, showing you the stuff. So here's my homework assignment. Go read it first, then email me, right? If you still have questions after reading it, then email me. The FAQs for forgiveness and for the loans will answer everything every question you could possibly have will be in there. There might be some crazy random thing. Email me if that comes up, but read it first.
Okay.
Mhm.
So you get your homework assignments, everybody. Again, thank you again, David. We really appreciate this.
You're welcome.
We really do. Thanks again. And thanks, everybody, and have a great rest of your afternoon.
All right.